Hello? Does that work? Fucking hell. I think it's come back on. What the fuck is going on today? Holy shit, man. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, there we go. Fuck me. Hello, everyone. It's not my fucking lucky day today, is it? And the YouTube chat has fucking gone off. What the hell is going on, man? Honest to God. Well, I started the stream, and then my Wi-Fi packed in. And then I start streaming, and then the mic isn't working. Which never happens. My mic never fucks up. It's a good mic. And for some reason, just on a whim, it just didn't fucking work. So that's great. Very professional. Very great start. We will be talking today about the brand new Doctor Who episode, which has just come out on BBC iPlayer. And that is Lucky Day. Is it our lucky day? Did we get a good Doctor Who episode? Well, we will find out very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, what I think. For the minute, let's share it on Discord. If you're not in our Discord, by the way, join it in the description below. It's a lovely little community, and you can stay up to date with all of the new episodes of the podcast, the shit that we released. I realise that I'm coming across a little bit like Conrad right now, so not to give off any red flags, but I am a fucking white guy with a podcast who is obsessed with Doctor Who. So, yeah. I'm excited to talk about this. I think we, as per usual with this sort of stuff, we will get into that in due course. But for now, we're going to do probably the quickest Hoodle we've ever done in our lives. The Hoodle is a lovely little segment we have on here where we look at pictures from a Doctor Who episode and try and guess which one it is. We get warmed up into the idea of talking about Doctor Who today. We get warmed up by looking and trying to guess which the episodes these are. And then we will flow directly into talking about the episode. Whoever's a fucking Conrad from Team, fuck off. Right. It's Hoodle time, folks. Let's rock and fucking roll. So here we are. Let's have a look. We streamed on Tuesday, so we're not going to have that many to do. From the 30th onwards, so we've got 4 to do. So, firstly, this looks like Unit. No, it's not. It's the underwater base. That's Under the Lake. Baby, from fucking Series 9. I remember that shit. That's the sort of coffin. We know it's a good episode. This is Day of the Moon, because it's the little voice recorder thing. Yeah. Cooking. What cooking? Oh, this could be any Jodie Whittaker episode. It's Series 12. Because this got the stairs in, which Series 11 didn't have. I reckon it's probably the beginning of, like, Praxeus or something. Oh, no, it is literally, like, the finale. Oh, no, it is Fugitive of the Jadoon, actually. Sorry, yeah. Of course it is. Yeah. I thought it would be something around that, but I thought it was going to be the episode after. Oh, well. And then Sonic Saturday, what have we got here? I didn't hear anything there. Oh my god, I know that. I know the music. It's something, it's Capaldi. It's Capaldi. No, it's Capaldi. It's Capaldi music. It's something. It's like that. I know the music, and it's really annoying me, but I don't know what it's from. It could be fucking Heaven Sent, you know. Oh, come on, man! Look at me cooking like that. Look at it from a 3-second bit of music. Come on, man. Look at that shit. That is beautiful. Whew. Yeah, it's the window smash. It's the music. It's the music that got me. It's from Heaven Sent. Yeah. I would have got it from that as well, I think. The music, again, the music is...
There's a life summed up.
Yeah, again,
Can't wait to get
would have got it definitely from that.
Nothing without an audience. Personally, I think that's a hell of a bird.
The Series 9 soundtrack, when Murray Gold released that, he sort of made it, he had a whole disc for Heaven Sent. There was so much original music that only appeared in Heaven Sent that I kind of just, it clocked somewhere in that. Anyway, let's talk about Lucky Day. So, I will say a lovely warm welcome to everyone who is in the chat. I'm sorry if I miss anyone out, but I'll try and read through every name that I can see. Ethan DJC, Michael, Cam, Dr. Master, Tribby Intellect, Jess Heard. Who else we got? Nigel Stockley, welcome. LeBricks, Elbricks, welcome. Owen A, welcome. Paul Malley, Dorothy Banks, Kane1447 Gaming and More, catchy title. Vanderez Who, welcome. Who else have we got? Liam, welcome. Jokovan. Who else we got? Hellsworth, Wolf Warrior, Abbas Nuno, Adam Grattan. Welcome to the stream, everyone, and everyone else who's listening or watching without tuning in the chat. Welcome, one and all. I'll be very excited to get all your opinions very shortly. I know not everyone loved this episode, but yeah, I'm kind of fucking with this. Let's talk about the episode. So for me, I think you have to bear in mind, this is one of those things where it's like, this is a Dr. Light episode. And how do we do a Dr. Light episode and make it good? It's kind of hard to get right. Because, for me, Dr. Light episodes are are the ones that you struggle to rewatch, right? They're hard to go back to. And what I liked about this one is that I had a huge focus on Conrad as a new character, a huge focus on Ruby and her story, and then a huge focus on Kate Stewart as well. I thought it was really great. Whilst tying it into what made sense about the season, even though this was based before when the series is based, right? Like, this is, I don't know. This is like before the series arc of not being able to get back to Earth happens, right? Which makes sense completely, because we don't know what happens on May 24th, for example. But yeah, I'm super interested. I'm very excited to see where this is going to go in the season as well. I feel like I'm just waffling different points at this point. So starting off, I actually loved it. It gave me... Oh yeah, let's put that in the chat now, actually, before people get... Let's just pin that up there. I think... Well, I think Turn Left is a classic. I can't deny that Turn Left and like Blink are really great Doctor Who episodes. I think more recently, I think 73 Yards I enjoy, but there's something missing about 73 Yards. I've told you before, I feel like, in my opinion, that could have been 10, 20 minutes longer. They could have developed it a lot more. I would have been way more interested to see more of the political side of things. It felt relatively low budget for what it was trying to be, whereas this episode felt like it had the budget and scale of what 73 Yards should have been. I would also say Dot and Bubble I don't think is the most rewatchable at all. Like I think the criticism I have with Dot and Bubble is that the ending is magnificent and it's brilliant, but as soon as you then have the context of that Lindy is a racist, horrible piece of shit, then when you try and rewatch the episode, it's a bit difficult to root for her to, like, survive, which maybe I guess isn't the point. But I think when you're watching a character and you're following a character, you're rooting for them to survive, especially when it's Dr. Light, you're rooting for Ruby, or you're rooting for someone in the main story who you want to survive. I don't think Lindy is that person, and I think that makes that episode harder to rewatch. I love that final scene. I could watch the Latin. I think it's a great episode. I'm not saying it's bad. I just think it's as rewatchable as other episodes, and I think that's fair. I think the last 10 minutes is fucking fire, especially. and you need that episode to build up to it. But yeah, I think for me though, what I was getting to is Lucky Day actually is one of those ones that I think you can revisit more and more and more. And I love this episode. I really do. I think it had a lot going for it, and I think it managed to combine a lot of elements that we were already familiar with Doctor Who, but also kind of new as well. I kind of wish I have my grievances. The only thing with this episode really is that I wish they'd hinted more at the war between the land and the sea, because Pete McTeague is writing that as like a showrunner, and this is Unit, and it's the last time well, obviously we'll see Unit in the finale, but it's one of the only times we'll see Unit before that spin-off, which presumably is based around this time if the Doctor's not in the picture at the minute. I kind of want to see that, and I'm a bit like, I don't know. Should we have got a hint there? Do you know what I mean? But other than that, yeah, I loved the opening. Kind of felt like Love and Monsters. Conrad as a kid felt like a little spoilt brat, so I was kind of glad to see that pay off. It was very Love and Monsters-esque, with Conrad almost narrating over his own story, which I thought was really interesting, and kind of cool. The only thing about that was, again, the context of it. Do you know what I mean? With Love and Monsters, where you've got like Elton, his voiceovers and his narration of the events are him on camera talking about it. So then we have this idea of, well, that's not an element here, and obviously narrating over a scene is not anything new. It's certainly not anything that contradicts too much. But I'm just thinking, like, okay, Mrs. Flood is now working with, or like has let Conrad out. We're probably going to see Conrad again, maybe in the finale. Is there going to be some sort of fourth wall breaking there that we're sort of getting hints of early on without thinking about it too much? I love that he's just some guy with a fucking Doctor Who podcast. That's great. It makes so much sense. I like the whole 50p thing. It sort of, I don't know, it ties together quite nicely in that sense, where you've got, I don't know. I think there's a lot of elements in there which make you actually start to like Conrad as a character, as like an awkward, nerdy guy. I'm sure a lot of people in the community can relate to him. None of this. I'm probably very similar. I'm quite a socially awkward person, and I'm a fucking white guy with a podcast. So yeah, you kind of relate with him and his sort of awkwardness and nerdiness to begin with, and then when he turns out to be a prick, that actually got me. I'm surprised, genuinely. Like, I really did not expect him to I mean, I expected him to be a villain eventually. Like, I thought maybe in the finale. I liked him being a villain in this. I did not expect him to be sort of gunning for like a anti-Unit approach, but I loved that approach of the episode. I really loved that. So when we got to that, I really believed in their relationship. I really believed the chemistry between them. So fair play in terms of like the performances and the writing here. I think it's some of the best we've had in Doctor Who in a while. In terms of the most convincing relationship I've seen in Doctor Who, like, I've seen some pretty unconvincing ones. Yeah, I loved this. And then we got to the whole twist of well, we had the flashback sequence as well, which I thought was brilliant. Again, doing Ruby's hair like it was in season 1, setting it after the Devil's Court, doesn't really answer many questions about the time jump in between Space Babies and Devil's Court, sure, but at least it's around that time. At least you get that sort of connection. But yeah, it was fun. It's a shame it wasn't Autons like everyone expected it to be, because it was like shop window dummies and stuff, but obviously it had to make sense within the context of the story, so I am game. I get that. That's all good. Something that I'm confused about, though, is Conrad sees the TARDIS materialize and dematerialize and all that sort of thing, and for what? Like, he doesn't believe it, or is he just trying to spin this idea? But I think the clever thing about this is I think he does believe it. Through and through, I think he believes in all of it. But what he tries to do is actively lie and spread misinformation, because that's what gets him views and clicks, and that's what makes him... what gets him the attention he so craved as a child. And I love that, because... I don't know, it's just great. I really, really love that, because it's clever and it's nuanced and it's interesting. Is that, like, he believes it, Of course he believes it. He's seen the TARDIS dematerialise and rematerialise. He's seen the Doctor as a child, and he looks no older or younger than when he's older, and he meets him again at the end of the episode. I thought that was fucking brilliant, and I thought that actually that the element of that, him spreading misinformation just because he wants attention, it's a great little a great little tie-in to genuine YouTubers like this, grifters, right-wing grifters, when they don't get any fucking attention or money or views or clicks from people by spreading positivity or just reviewing things in a normal fucking way. They have to go like uber right-wing fucking nutcase just to get clicks and reactionary stuff and go, this is the worst season of Doctor Who yet, or this is, oh, the Acolyte has too many women in it, or fucking Andor has too many bricks in it. There's some deep-seated shit there for me, but like there are YouTubers out there that do this, and you're like, you don't actually believe this, because a few years ago you weren't making content like this. You don't just get more progressively stupid over time. But there are people out there like Conrad who do believe these things, who know damn well what the situation is, but know that they can get more money, more fame, more notoriety, more views, more love, and more attention if they pretend to appeal to things that they don't believe in, because that's what a lot of people, for some reason, fucking think. Whether that be like, oh, woke trends and all that sort of thing. And that's a great, great analogy that I've never seen Doctor Who explore before. So I'm pretty happy with that. I thought that was fun. I like the monster as well and all that sort of thing, but I like that the villain of this episode was really Conrad. I love the infiltration of UNIT. And I also love like the breakdown of like the misinformation stuff about people spreading misinformation about UNIT. UNIT have been there time and time again. I would have liked to have seen them. They did name drop the Sycorax, which I thought was really interesting, because it's like, can we get some context? Like, giant fucking alien spaceship. It would have been nice to see us reference some old stuff that's happened in Doctor Who before more explicitly and go, oh, well, that was fake, or that was fake, or that was fake, and explain why everyone's just so normal about the idea of aliens. Because in Russell's first era, it was very, like, heavy focus on, oh, everyone knows about aliens now, that's all cool. The whole planet got invaded by Daleks, But then they also kind of revamp that every showrunner anyway, so I understand. But I like the idea that this misinformation thing is just sort of spreads and actually ends up costing UNIT. Like, realistically, they should be able to ignore it, but yeah, I love... I thought it was really interesting how... It was really interesting how they used that, because it stressed me out watching it. The whole thing about misinformation and fake news and spreading lies just based on trends without any foreseeable evidence and people just believing it is a very scary thing in our culture, in our political culture at the minute especially. And it's frightening, and it's very real, and it's the first time I've seen in a while where I've seen Doctor Who try and tackle that. And it was very well done, because it made me feel anxious, and I liked that. And then we get to the scene where he infiltrates UNIT Tower, which I thought was brilliant. The way he sort of shoots that guy is like kind of mad, but then again, you have to push him to that point. And I think Conrad had to do this. For Treadholes, for fuck's sake. Thanks, Usha. I appreciate the £2 super chat. Yeah, so when he infiltrated, he had to shoot someone. He had to be a villain for Kate Stewart to be justified in what she was doing. But can I just say, we'll get to the final Doctor scene, because it's a good one. I think this is probably one of Gemma Redgrave's best performances in Doctor Who. If it didn't go through, you won't have lost it. It'll probably get returned to you if it hasn't gone through on the super chat. I thought Gemma Redgrave is probably one of her best performances in Doctor Who. I think Gemma Redgrave is one of my favourite things, and I know a lot of people don't like Kate Stewart, and I get why people don't like Kate Stewart, because it's just a reminder of the past and this nostalgia thing about the Brigadier, and I get it, I understand it, but to have this one character as a figurehead of UNIT for so long, I think is important for the show, and I think it is the equivalent of the Brigadier in modern Who. And now we are at this point where we've got, Kate Stewart's been around since 2012 now. So 13 years we've had Kate Stewart in the show, and then we get another top performance. I'm working late, of course. We need to clip that and do something with that. I just thought it was brilliant, and you know, I don't really love the Brigadier references, but in this episode I thought it was so justified, where like Conrad's done his research. You know, she denied him from a job interview, and he's like bitter specifically at her, and I just think you feel that when you watch it, and I can't remember the exact lines because I've only just watched it, but I thought the performance from Gemma Redgrave was brilliant as Kate Stewart. This sort of thing of like, don't you fucking dare criticize my father. I was like, oh, you wanna fight monsters? Then, you know, we'll show you. Then this is the proof. This sort of danger where all the people around her, like Ibrahim and Shirley, were all like, Kate, you're going a little bit too far. And she's like, I'm glad the doctor's not here because he would stop me. I am gonna fucking kill this guy. And I genuinely thought she was gonna let Conrad get murdered. Like, I knew Conrad would probably end up coming back anyway, but I was like, damn, where is this going? I was very like, oh, I love that. I love that. I was very like, this is great Kate Stewart stuff, and actually better than a lot of stuff we've seen over many years, to be honest. I think there's actually been some relatively tame Kate Stewart stuff where she's just sort of standing, giving exposition for a story, whereas this is the first time I think she's felt like she has a character. I feel like her connection with Ruby over the phone was really sweet, in person was really sweet, her reaction with Conrad and all that sort of shit. I thought that was really, really interesting, that we actually got some fucking character from Kate Stewart, and I'm glad that it's got to this point where, like, we've had character in the past, but her character up until this point has been, she's the Brigadier's daughter and she runs unit, and that's that. Whereas this is like showing an actual side to her. I know a lot of people sort of headcanoned her to not be straight, and I completely think that's valid and fun and whatever. Her having a little bit of a relationship with the Colonel, as it's an element that I quite like, because again, it gives her a character, you know, having someone to tie herself to. I'm into that. I love that. But yeah, it's a tricky one. There's a lot of different stuff there, but I think Kate Stewart's performance in this episode was brilliant. I love the conclusion with the shriek, was it? Basically just being allowed to go after Conrad, and then just all standing there up until the very last minute. And then the fucking thing bites his fucking arm. I don't know what the implication is. Is the implication that the shriek rips his arm off? Because when you get to the end, he's got this sort of thing on his arm. This thing, which looks like it's a metal bracket holding the end of the arm and the back of the arm together. So I don't know whether it's cut his arm in half or something. But that's fantastic for Doctor Who, even still, just to kind of imply that is kind of dark. But that shot where the monster bites his arm is actually... it's pretty scary. It's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. And then we get the scene of him in prison with the Doctor, which I know everyone's sort of waiting to hear about. A lot of things I liked about this. I liked, first of all, the mention of Belinda, because obviously this is the Doctor before he met Belinda, and we get in the Robot Revolution where he's like, someone mentioned your name, mentioned that it was a he, and mentioned that he couldn't say who it was because of timelines and stuff. So you get a little bit of like, oh, who's told him about Belinda? Now, I think I was hoping for something a little bit more like, you need to go and see Belinda now to set off this timeline or whatever, you know, because it's sort of like he was at the right place at the right time with the Robot Revolution. But I don't mind it just staying as that and going, okay, it's Conrad, because it's like a sort of a bootstrap paradox is they went back in time, Belinda and the Doctor, and they bumped into Conrad. He remembered Belinda Chandra and the Doctor, and then he said to the Doctor's face, you know, to Belinda Chandra, you've got a bunch of friends, all that sort of thing. I then loved the Doctor going, I love when the Doctor turns into a bit of a prick, because it gives me Capaldi vibes, right? I loved that he just kind of snapped and was like, I know how you die. And you die alone in a prison. Your heart gives out at age 49, filled with poison and anger, and you're alone and miserable. And I'm like, fucking hell. I mean, that's strong. Even for Doctor Who, that's fucking strong. And I was like, yeah, that's great. I love that. Part of me is just like, yep, it's exactly what I want to see from the Doctor. This threatening side to the Doctor, because he can have that. And Capaldi would have. I imagine if this was like Clara and Capaldi would have killed this man. Capaldi would have dropped him into like a fucking time vortex or something. I don't know. But I think there's a level of care there. And I like the Doctors having a level of care for their companions. It's a little bit like... How can I explain it? It's a little bit like what reminds me of the ending of Love and Monsters, where Rose and Ten rock up to confront Elton because Rose's mum was upset by him. And it's like that. It's like they're off doing their thing, but the Doctor will come back to be like, you've upset my friend. You've actively traumatized my friend. You've actually hurt my friend. So I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to tell you why you're a prick. And then I'm going to tell you that you die alone in prison. Or does he? Because you got let go by Mrs. Flood. So, well, I don't know what the fuck that's about. Absolutely just, yeah. I loved it. I was really a big fan of this episode. I really was. I can't lie to you guys. Not my favourite of the series. That probably comes from... I want to say The Well's probably still the best one so far. But, yeah, it's up there. I will say, honestly, that this season is 4 for 4. I think Lucky Day... conceptually, as a concept, is interesting and like very good as a story. It's probably not one that I'm going to keep revisiting. Do I think it's better than 73 Yards is the big question. Look, no and yes at the same time. 73 Yards I have more of an issue with. I have more problems with 73 Yards than Lucky Day. Lucky Day is a much better, like, paced and rounded episode with a satisfying conclusion. But I also think 73 Yards conceptually was more interesting with the whole thing of being stalked and all that like that. Yeah. I thought 73 Yards was a much better conceptual thing. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm trying to like really work it out in my head because we're trying to now compare the two seasons that we've got. We've got like season 1 and season 2. First 4 episodes of season 1, you've got Space Babies, Devil's Cord, Boom, and 73 Yards. You've got 2 really good episodes, 1 decent episode and 1 shit episode. Season 2, Robot Revolution, Lux, The Well, Lucky Day. I think you've honestly got a solid... I think you've got a solid 4 episodes. I genuinely, I can't knock it. Like, I don't think any of these episodes so far have been, like, all-timers. Maybe The Well is up there. But I think Lucky Day is one of those ones that can be revisited in terms of, like, in the future and go back and go, yeah, that was a cool idea because you could do that at any point in time. The story of Lucky Day could be done at any point in Doctor Who's history and it would probably work, right? Maybe, obviously, you need the social media aspect, but the idea is there. Oh, I loved it. I think Conrad was a brilliant villain because, again, he was able to, like, the actor was able to convey this whole thing of being almost like awkward and nerdy, but then sort of spin into sort of like a twist villain really nicely. Yeah, I love that. I was a massive fan of that, to be honest with you. So yeah, I was really, really happy with that. I have other thoughts, I'm sure, but one of those things with those sort of initial reaction reviews, I forget some things that have actually happened in this episode. But I think that was Kate Stewart's best performance for me. I think that's absolutely her best performance as Kate Stewart. And I think Shooty's little thing at the end was brilliant as well. It's one of his highlights for the Doctor, for his Doctor, for me. So although the story might not be one that I revisit too often, it is one that I would say has a lot of highlights, and I think the overall story works. It's something that wraps up nicely. It's paced incredibly well. I think the pacing was a big issue with the previous series for me, personally. I thought 73 Yards had a great concept, but it rushed the last 10 minutes. It wrapped it up too quickly. Whereas with this, I felt like it wrapped up in perfect time. You had the 3-act structure kind of nicely, where you got the introduction of Conrad and Ruby getting together, the whole thing with the they're actually dating. Fucking hell. Well, Oosh, that donation has come through. Thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's fucking mental. Thank you very much. I kind of have to do it now. I'll get it, and I don't know when I'll play it on stream, but I will get it. And you've been asking me for so long, and you've actually donated the fucking money, so I kind of feel like I have to now. Please play Dreadhalls for the last time. Only joking. You don't have to play it. If you want, you should use this to buy some pot pies. Also an option. Also a pretty good option. Thank you very much, Ooch. I really appreciate that for both the £10 and £2 donation. £12. That may or may not go towards that game. I'll have a look at it and I'll let you know. As I say, we are revamping Twitch at the minute. We're not doing any Twitch streams playing video games at the minute. We're kind of holding off and waiting until Doctor Who's finished. But I have got some exciting plans for when I return. Dreadhalls may be part of that. We'll see. I'll see if I can work that into my current plans. But yeah. That's a great. Thank you very much for the donation, though. Very much appreciated. So now I'm going to open the floor to you lot. Please tell me in the chat what you thought of this episode. And above all, do you have any questions for what I thought? Did I miss anything? Do you have any thoughts or ideas or things that you did or didn't like that you want to sort of get an opinion on? Please put it in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to do a little bit of cheeky self promo. But you tell me what you thought. Ask me any questions. We can talk about it. I'm keen to give my opinions as per. Meanwhile, guess what I'm going to reference? Hang on. Let me know in chat. Let me know in chat. Doctor Who at the cinema. That's a good one. That's a good topic. I'll talk about that. I am going to see the Doctor Who finale double bill at the cinema on the 31st, I think it is. I'm going to that. I'm going to London West End View. So the View in Leicester Square. So that's the one I'm going. If you're going to that one, feel free to come and say hi to me. I'm also going to the BFI tomorrow. I don't know if anyone else is going to BFI South Bank for the 20 years of Doctor Who Dalek and Father's Day screening at BFI South Bank, but I'm also going to be there. So if you're there as well, please do feel free to come and say hi. I might be quite awkward, but please do come and say hi. Yeah, while we're on that, so while you're asking your questions, before I go through all of them, I will shout out just quickly again, as per, we do it every week, man. If you didn't already know, I have a podcast. It's called Nostalgia Bit. It is a weekly podcast that happens every single Thursday at 10 a.m. We talk about Doctor Who. We talk about Star Wars. We talk about all sorts of stuff. Films, TV, music, games, quizzes, all sorts of shit. We talk about everything, pretty much. Anything that we want to talk about, we talk about. And there's a lot of fun to be had. So we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon, we're on YouTube, as you can see here. So please do go into the link in the description. Follow us on Spotify, subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. Would really, really appreciate that. But that's all I'm going to ask. That's all I'm going to ask for this. We have some exciting stuff coming up. We're going to be reviewing Season 2 of Doctor Who in its entirety when that's done. But yeah, if you haven't already checked this out in our podcast, I'd really, really appreciate it. And I know this is a very typical episode to be doing that too. Don't worry, I'm not a secret grifter like Conrad. This is very much just a nice, wholesome sci-fi and film and TV podcast. So please do go and check it out. I'd really appreciate it. As I say, a new episode every single Thursday at 10 a.m. We haven't missed for over a year. So, you know it's true. Okay, let's see what you guys think then. Conrad is the hottest Doctor Who villain. Valid. Do you think there's anything going on with Ruby's dad? It's a story for another day. I think there is. I think because they implied at the end of Empire of Death that she's got a dad. We still haven't seen him. We've had a Ruby-centric episode. We has had a mention. I do wonder if we'll see her dad and if it's important. But I have a feeling it might not be. I don't know. The Master. I thought Conrad would have kept the antidote as he really believed in it and pulled it out in unit. Yeah, that's true. Maybe he didn't keep the... Yeah, but he just... I don't know. It's a good thought, because I think he was so caught up in his own lie that maybe he did forget the antidote. But it would have been nice to see him acknowledge that if he was like, oh, antidote. And then he's like, yeah. But I think also if you're in that state of fear, he's the kind of person that he is just like shoot, shoot, kill, kill, as opposed to anything else. I don't think Ruby's PTSD was handled very well. Felt very one scene, only for the paranoia to then be justified. Yeah, I understand that. I actually think it would have been more interesting to have more scenes of that, where it isn't relevant at all and there isn't like an actual monster kind of happening. It would have been nice to see... It would have been nice to see Ruby like have that explored in another context of like she's just being overly suspicious about something random, because that would have been a nice way to do it, like a post-companion story. But I think in the context of this it works because she has that PTSD and you think, oh, it's just paranoia, and then you think, oh, it's real, and then you realise it's Conrad's fucking mates in a costume being dickheads. And then you sort of get the whole thing of, right, that makes Conrad seem worse because now you know that she's actually struggling from PTSD and he's invoked that just to get a kick on his social media, right? And that's fucked up. If the Doctor was his true self, he would have stared into Conrad's soul and ripped him apart. Remember, the Doctor's being kind. Yeah, the Doctor is being kind. The Doctor's always being kind because he has the potential to do a lot more and a lot worse. As soon as I heard Ruby's theme, I realised how much I missed her, plus a little title sequence change. Yeah, the title sequence was good to have all 3 names in. I really like Ruby as a companion. I do prefer Belinda, I think, at the minute. But I think having this episode with Ruby by herself, especially after Empire of Death and Legend of Ruby Sunday, I think was really needed. I think we really needed this episode just to kind of really get to know her character a little bit again and kind of get reintroduced to her a little bit. So yeah, I like that. That was good. Maybe let's go the show's entire 62-year history for any character called William. I'm watching part 1 at home and part 1 and 2 at the cinema. Yeah, I'll watch part 1 the week before and we'll do a YouTube thing on it, and then part 1 and 2 will be in the cinema. I'll be there tomorrow. See you there. Fantastic. Ruby's new dad. Do we think it'll crop up again? I don't know. Not exposing Unit's lies. Brent Brooks, George, I can only imagine how this episode will rile up those who's meant to give commentary on. What do you make of the tone? I think it was really well handled. As I said before, earlier in the stream, I think I genuinely think that it's a brilliant commentary on these sort of grifter YouTubers. It's all about the whole thing of like, I think Conrad as a character very clearly believes in aliens. He's seen the blue box disappear and reappear. He believed in it as a kid. He still believes in it to the point where he actually tried to apply for UNIT. And let's be fucking real, actually does have a podcast talking about this, right? He has a podcast. It's implied that Ruby's not his first podcast episode. So he has a podcast talking about it. He applied for UNIT, but what he's currently spinning is this other thing. And it's like, he realises that he can be honest and true to himself and talk about these things and be like, yes, I believe in aliens, all this sort of thing. But what I won't do... But then when he realises he can get more clicks and attention and views and money from being a grifter, he goes for it. There's a line about him having 3 houses and paying for his a house for his mum in the south of France. Now, I don't think that you can really comfortably do that, surely, off having that. But then again, paid subscriptions. Maybe he's got an OnlyFans. Maybe that's the implication. No. But he's playing up to it. He plays up to something he doesn't believe in because it makes him more money, and that's what pretty much any right-wing grifter on the internet you'll see will be doing at any given opportunity. So, yeah. No, I like that. And I think it was handled very well, and it was subtle enough where it worked. I'm losing track of everything, so if you've said a question and I haven't answered it, please do drop it in the chat again, and we'll be going through. Love the pacing this season. I'm glad they're not leaving all the mysteries until the season's finale and answered who gave the Doctor Belinda's name. Yeah, little things like that, little continuity points, I think are really clever, and it's really great to see that. Yeah, I think it's really great to see that come together. Like, you've got some good continuity points there where that was introduced in the Robot Revolution, and then that pays off in this episode, and I'm glad. Yeah, Cherry Sunday was on Conrad's OnlyFans. How does Pete rank amongst all the writers? Well, all the writers ever is a hard one. In this era, I think near the top, definitely. I think most of the... I'm really excited to see a few episodes in a row now, this episode and then the next 2 episodes that aren't at all written by Russell. Just to see what this era does with some new writers and new energy, because this is a great episode. This is easily Pete McTeague's best episode. Lucky day. Kablam was solid, but had its major flaws. Praxius was kind of boring to me, honestly. But this one, Lucky Day, I think was a really, really standout episode. And I loved it. Yeah, I think it's his best episode. He's written 3 for Doctor Who now, and I think it's his best one. And I actually think it really is interesting to see a Chibnall era writer write for the show now and see how different it feels. Given that it's the same writer and the same style, it's always going to be, but in a different era, a different show, and a different production, just how different the episode actually ended up being. So, yeah, interesting. I like that. Season 15 almost seems like a different thing. It's so much more cohesive than 14. Not having 6 months between episode 1 and 2 is needed. Yeah, exactly. I like the continuity of at the end of every episode you jump into the next one. The beginning of The Well started with them in their costumes from the previous episode. There's no time jumps. I think that's what killed the momentum of season 1 for me, is you don't have that. I loved it in series 10 of Doctor Who when they, at the end of Smile, they popped over at the end of the episode and they were in the ice fair in London, and then that goes straight into Thin Ice. They don't do that with every episode, and they're not doing that with every episode here, because now we're cut off from that continuity now. We had... Bloody hell. We had the... Well, that light's gone off. We had... like this, the beginning of the series, obviously with the Robot Revolution, which went directly into Lux, because like the first scene, pretty much. And then we went directly into The Well, and then we had a bit of a time jump before we get into the beginning of this with the 2007 New Year's thing. So I think you have elements of that, but I think that continuity, that through line is a lot nicer than what we had in Series 1, where it's like, okay, Church from Ruby Road to Space Babies was consistent, then like a huge, massive jump of 6 months between then and Devil's Cord. It just didn't feel right, and it felt like something was wrong. It did feel kind of Torchwoody. I was kind of thinking that. Little English village. Yeah. Belinda and the Doctor's relationship is far more earned, showing it properly developed. 100%. You feel like the relationship between the Doctor and Ruby has lost that development. It's sort of, they're just friends. Whereas Belinda and the Doctor is a complex relationship, which I think is growing over time. And I think you see that on the episodes. And I think that's the best thing about it. For me, anyway. So that scene with 15 and Ruby was just after the Devil's Cord and not in between Space Babies and Devil's Cord. I wish it was in between, but it wasn't. I thought it would be. And I think it would have made sense for it to be that, because he was wearing his costume from Space Babies. She was wearing her costume from the beginning of the Devil's Cord. I'm just like, just kind of wish they'd done that, but oh well. Oh well. Yeah. I feel like this should have been the season to start off the new era. I don't agree that this is the season that should have started the era. I think they just need to take some notes from what they did with this season and apply it to season 1, like the continuity, not starting the series with something like Space Babies. That was just shit. It just was shit, and I think we can look back on that now and go, okay, the episode is fine, it's solid, but it's to a general audience that's not going to get people on board. I've had, like, genuinely, so I've had conversations with people at work this week, and the thing is, just because, again, I've had a Doctor Who YouTube channel for many, many years, the show has followed me around as much as I've followed it around, where I just crack on with my day. People will ask me questions about Doctor Who, and they'll be like, I remember it was the other day, and I spoke to 2 people at work, and they were like, they were telling me there's this fun fact about a Doctor Who actor who was in an old episode, and then the conversation just goes on to Doctor Who, and it's like, well, talking about, like, what went wrong with it, right? And although I don't agree that it's ever went wrong, I think it always goes in different directions, and if you don't like an era, that's fine. It's just another era's for you, and it can be nostalgia. But they didn't know that there was even a new series on, because the marketing's been terrible for it. They've not really advertised it. Thank you for the super chat, TV license man. That's really appreciated. A lot of super chats today. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, man. Honestly, really, really great stuff. Honestly, super, super thankful for that. I don't know how to react, really. Yeah. So, basically, that conversation ended up leading on to me going, yeah, the new season has some downsides, but there is some good stuff. And I found myself saying, start watching at season 2. Start watching from the Robot Revolution. and you might actually get it, and you might lock in. And if you want to go back and watch some season 1 stuff, watch Boom, watch 73 Yards, maybe watch Rogue, and then watch the 2-part finale, because you'll need the context probably for season 2. But you definitely don't watch Space Babies, but a lot of people put that off. A lot of people were like, oh, well, we were really interested with Shitty. I watched Space Babies and then stopped watching it because it was shit. It's a bit embarrassing. You can't really justify it because it's a bad first episode. But the Robot Revolution is brilliant. As a first episode, it works. It does its job. It introduces a new companion in an interesting way. And it has some really great stuff in there. There's the scene where they slam the certificates together. I thought it was brilliant. I rewatched it the other day. It was brilliant. I really loved it. And then you've got Lux, which is fucking great and fun and daft, but really creative and interesting and new for Doctor Who. The Well, which is probably one of the best horror Doctor Who episodes we've had since probably Wild Blue Yonder, which isn't saying too much, but Wild Blue Yonder was that good, so it's hard to go by without noticing or like mentioning that one. But it's definitely other than Wild Blue Yonder, the best one we've had for years. With a connection to like 2008 Doctor Who, which I think really works. And then this episode, I think, is a really great commentary on like grifter YouTubers, on the spread of misinformation on the internet, and how easily that happens, about how easily the government will fumble and just sort of defund something just because of public pressure. It is 4 solid episodes, and I think there's something to be said about that. It's like, people don't know that Doctor Who's on as much anymore, but actually talking about it, people are more into it than you'd think. People are more like, oh shit, well you seem to be enjoying it, like I'll give it a try. They might not like it, but I'm telling people, like, just go in with low expectations and just see what you think. Like, don't expect it to be Breaking Bad. I don't watch Doctor Who because I want it to be the best show of all time. Because, like, in terms of drama and stuff like that, I've seen some incredible TV, like Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad as an example, but there's other stuff out there, you know. And I think that's, you know, going from watching Andor last night to then watching Doctor Who this morning, it's a different show completely. But Doctor Who fills a hole that I need in my life, and I love Doctor Who as a show because I grew up with it. There's a nostalgia there, but beyond that nostalgia, there is such a deep-seated love for, I don't know, for that escapism that Doctor Who provides. And it doesn't matter what it is and what its form is. It doesn't have to be, in the same way that this episode, being a Doctor Light episode, doesn't have to be Heaven Sent. Not every episode has to be Heaven Sent, because all you've got is Heaven Sent. The best thing about Doctor Who is that variety, and is that every episode can be different, but you can have a consistent level of good TV. And this season has been consistently good for 4 episodes in a row. We're halfway through the season, and I don't have many complaints. I've enjoyed pretty much all of it. Whereas season 1, I had my criticisms. People loved Boom, and I think Boom is a very well-written episode, but I was a little bit like, and I liked it, but really small scale. Devil's Cord, I think, was probably my favourite of those early episodes. 73 Yards was good, but confusing and rushed at the end. Like, I have criticisms of those episodes. I don't have many criticisms of this season so far. I'm genuinely enjoying it, and I think there's something to be said about that, honestly. So, yeah. Exactly. I'm just kind of waffling now. Well, it's not sad that you have to recommend Doctor Who like that, because that's just the way TV works now. There is so much available on everything now. You can watch stuff anywhere on the internet. You know, you can watch stuff on streaming platforms, on TV, on YouTube if you want. There is thousands of ways to watch stuff, thousands of new shows and stuff every fucking day. People are just not going to understand or know, like, where Doctor Who stands in that, and it's just going to go missing in time, because it's like, the explanation I've given before is like, you know, the Beatles, right? The Beatles are amazing, right? No one can deny their contribution to the music industry and how that changed and shaped everything for generations. If the Beatles never existed, and those exact boys were born now, John, Paul, George and Ringo, and they came up with this music again and tried to be seen now, in today's day and age, it wouldn't work. Because it's all about timing. You know, the Beatles didn't work just because the music's good. I couldn't sit and write Beatles music now and be famous for it, even if it sounded the same. It wouldn't do well. And because it's not just about that. It's not just about the songs. It's not just about what the quality of the episodes, well, I'm getting back to Doctor Who there, what the quality of the songs are, how it sounds, all that sort of thing. But it's also the characters. It's the people the Beatles themselves. It's also the timing. It's also the clothing. It's also the just the look of going on a certain show at a certain time, releasing a certain album at a certain time, in the right place at the right time, and just a big pile of domino effect coincidences that led to the Beatles becoming so generationally brilliant. And it's exactly the same, I think, with Doctor Who. It did this in the classic Who. In the 60s and 70s, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. It was massive. And then towards the 80s, they were trying to recreate that sort of lightning in a bottle, and it just kind of dwindled for about 10 years until it got cancelled. And I feel like that's kind of what is happening now, is like, you can't recreate 2005 Doctor Who because it was lightning in a bottle. You couldn't do that now. I've rewatched it, and trust me, Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, I love it. Series 4, 5... excellent TV, it's brilliant, but you have to watch it through the lens of when you watched it then, through nostalgia. Because if you try to put these exact scripts with those exact actors now on TV with that exact film quality, maybe people will be like, "This is shit." The Series 3 ending with the fucking everyone saying the word Doctor, and the Doctor turns from a little goblin into a flying Jesus angel, and then the whole world just forgets about the last year. That's the most contrived ending. It's a terrible, terrible way to wrap up a story, but we forgive it because when we watched it, we were kids. I was 6 years old when that came out. Do I give a shit? No, I love it because it's nostalgic. But if that happened on Doctor Who now, I'd be like, this is the worst finale they've ever done. Because it's not good writing, but who gives a fuck? Right? It worked then, and it doesn't work as well now. It doesn't captivate as many of the general audience now. But what's important is that you love it for what you fucking love it. We're fans. We could sit and watch it all day long, and we love it. And that's fine. Doesn't matter if fucking the UK population and the general audience don't watch it as much. It's not my concern about TV ratings or fucking income or merchandising. That's the concern of the BBC. As a fan, all I want is it to keep going. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. There's 62 years of history, and it will inevitably come back again in the future with a whole new vision. It's a show that will never die. It's a franchise that's too big to die. It's self-sustaining. And if it does get taken off the air for a few years and come back, it'll be just as good, if not better and more appropriate for the time we're living in. When Doctor Who came back in 2005, it wasn't trying to recreate the 60s and 70s hype. It was trying to make Doctor Who now in 2005. Now we're making 2005 Doctor Who in 2025, and we're struggling. If it goes off the air and comes back and we make Doctor Who for 2030 and it's an event streaming thing like Squid Game or Stranger Things, something that gets the masses pulled in, it'll be a massive success again. Not necessarily, but it's all timing and coincidence. You can't be comparing Doctor Who now to its success in 2008 because it's incomparable. It's incomparable. It's incomparable. There's no way to make that. There's no way to make that work. Because you're never going to be able to compare it to nostalgia. That's the problem. But that being said, I'm not sad that I have to tell people about to watch Doctor Who. I'm so delighted I can give people recommendations. I'm so glad that there are still people who haven't watched the show in years that are still interested in going, oh, well, if it's on iPlayer, I might check it out. What episodes would you recommend? Brilliant. Weird waffle that has sort of silenced everyone. We'll have one game of 13, and then we will wrap up here, I think. Let's do 13. And yeah, but a huge thank you to everyone who's joined the stream today. I've had a lot of fun. We'll be back here next week for our discussion of the story and the engine. Is that what the episode's called? I think that's what it's called. Probably one of my most anticipated ones of the series. But again, I don't know what to expect because the ones that I've not anticipated have been brilliant. So maybe I need to start anticipating them more. So yeah, it's nice. It's fun. I'm excited about it, and it's. Yeah, I think Doctor Who, this series, if, like, God forbid, if Doctor Who goes off the air, and this is always at the back of my mind, especially with, like, the cinema thing and everything, the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Doctor Who could go off the air tomorrow. We wouldn't know. It's out of our hands as fans. We've just got to enjoy it while it's here, and be grateful that we've still got a show that's being made, because a lot of shows have been cancelled over the years that just don't ever get picked back up again. And even if it does get cancelled, it probably would get picked up again in the future, but something that I'm thankful for is I have to look at this series and go, if this is the last Doctor Who series for years, let's say, then I am delighted that it's going out on a high, because this series so far has been 4 for 4, and that delights me as a fan, because I'm like, look, if they don't pick it up again, whatever. It is what it is. It's out of our control. But if we ended on like season 1, I probably would have felt disappointed. But so far, like I'm fucking with this. I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't know, call me a fucking idiot, but I'm getting more of a kick out of this, and this is feeling more like what I remember Doctor Who feeling like. How are you vamping up the Twitch? Well, I've got some new graphics and some new visuals recorded, not just for the Twitch, but for the Who Bulletin as well. And I'm just trying to have a bit of a better plan with the games that we play and stuff like that. I've had 2 years of doing Twitch, and I've done a lot of different games. A lot of long story games that people find quite hard to follow, because some people will tune in one week and then not the next, and then they're sort of a bit lost as to what's going on, and then they're less likely to stick around. And I completely understand that. So I'm trying to find ways of playing games that are a bit shorter, games that are a bit more arcadey maybe, and maybe just a bit more interesting generally. I don't know, maybe just a bit more, I don't know what I'm saying actually. But I have ideas of games that I want to play, that I think would make for really, really good content on Twitch and be really like exciting to watch. So I'm going to be going in that angle of, this will be a good game to play on Twitch, and this will be something that would be entertaining. Because I'm still aware that I'm probably only going to be streaming like once a week. So it's like, if I want to keep up an audience and keep you guys interested, then I'll have to do some more interesting stuff. And that will come in the form of, yeah, like just something new, something fresh, and I'm perfectly excited and happy about doing that. I just need to think. I've got an idea of games, but I also want to add loads of new reactions and loads of new, like interactions and stuff. I want to like throw in a bunch of that. I haven't done that yet, but that's on my list to do definitely before we bring the Twitch back. I'll not be bringing Twitch back until there are a bunch of new reactions, a few Doctor Who ones, bit of Molten Slag. So yeah. Yeah, but I'm excited about it, you know, like I'm excited about bringing Twitch back, and I'm excited about doing it properly, and I've filmed some new elements that I'm really excited about. I just need to like edit down and work into the stream somehow, but I'm excited. I think it'll be good. I think it will be good. Seems like a lot of people are liking this season, new seasons so far. Hopefully they don't drop the ball with the finale. And that's exactly what I'm thinking. I hope they don't fumble it with the finale, because if I feel like if they do, then it will leave a bad taste in people's mouths. Season 1 was decent, but people remember Empire of Death for the wrong reasons, right? They do. They just do. And it's sad that people remember Empire of Death for the wrong reasons, because it's not the worst episode in the show's history. It could have been a lot better, and it could have been a lot cleverer with how it did things. Stupid plot twists don't work. Oh, I pointed at a sign. No. Sorry, I don't think you get away with that, and I don't think the Doctor Who community has ever let anyone get fucking away with that. Which is a shame, because I think in another world that would have worked. If that happened in 2008, we would have forgive it. It's game over. But I think that's pretty much... Oh, God. Spoilers. I think that is pretty much it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of rattle off some other stuff that we do, just so you guys are aware. Every single week from 9 o'clock in the morning, after Doctor Who is aired on BBC iPlayer, we will be here talking about the brand new episode. And that'll be the case for the next few weeks until the finale, which I think airs at about 7 o'clock, and I'm going to be seeing it in cinema. So I'm not sure what I'm doing for that yet, but I will definitely do something. But yeah, this is the Who Bulletin. We're here every single Saturday, as I said, from 9 o'clock with a brand new Doctor Who episode review. If you want to watch some of my older reviews and you haven't already seen those, you can re-watch the live streams back on the channel. They're a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun discussions, especially last week. We only did 3 days ago, so I can remember that one quite well. We had a lot of fun with these, and it's great to be able to do them in proper little reviews that people are actually interested in and tuning in for and watching. Previously, I've done like videos, I've done other stuff, but to be able to do like post-episode reactions, it's quite fun, to be honest. I'm quite enjoying this, and this is great. But yeah, this is the channel. I'm going to be posting more Doctor Who stuff in the future on this channel, so if you are new here, please do subscribe to the channel. We'd really, really appreciate that. We also have a Twitch, which we're revamping soon, which is linked in the description below. But most importantly, our podcast, Nostalgia Bait. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. But please do check the link in the description for that. And yeah, subscribe, follow, give it a hearty 5-star review on Spotify if you like. And check out some of the episodes. If you want to look at some of the Doctor Who episodes of Nostalgia Bit, I can link them to you right now. These are all the Doctor Who ones, and they're good. They're good. Some of them are a little bit, a bit reactionary to stuff that's happening at the time, whether that be a season 1 reaction or theories. But we have got some like best episodes ever, ranking the series from worst to best. And then we've got some other stuff as well. So yeah, just feel free to tune in, see what you think, and yeah, would love to have some more Nostalgia Bait fans along for the ride. So if you do enjoy these streams and you enjoy hearing me and waffle, and you might enjoy hearing me waffle with another Geordie, then feel free to check out the podcast. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this week. Really, really appreciate it. We will see you all next week with my live reaction review of the story and the engine. See you later. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.